Hi friends, this is Carly and I'm back today with another review. Today we are working back on the Abomination Bath series and we've got this, one more figure, and the final completed Abomination review to go. So without further ado, let's get right into Marvel's Rage. Now when I saw this figure in the package, when I purchased it, I was really excited at the potential to talk about or learn about a luchador character. But unfortunately, this is not that. Fortunately, what he is very interesting and a character that I can't wait to get to know more about. So Rage is a character, his name is Elvin Halliday, and he is 14 years old. He is black. He is running away from a racist gang one day and jumps into a creek to hide, and it turns out that that creek is where toxic waste gets dumped. While he's in there, workers from the factory actually come and dump toxic waste into the creek, and it transforms him into a full-grown man with super strength. So this is pretty interesting as a character, as a story, and with potential to grow in the Marvel Universe because he's a child in a man's body. Now, I know that this isn't a new trope at all. It has been done before. It's been done before in the Marvel Universe with even the teenage Abomination, which is so interesting that that's what we're working on now. But it doesn't make it any less interesting to me to get into these stories. And that's something that I really love about Marvel, is that they create characters with real depth. So this isn't just some sort of bruiser. This person has a story and a life and a really interesting background that brought him to where he is. So Elvin is able, his costume is made by his granny. It is actually a ski mask and a leather suit that she modifies. And I think it's really funny when I'm looking at it, it sort of feels like what a 14-year-old and his granny would think is a really tough guy costume, which says nothing for how tough that it looks. He does look really badass, but at the same time, I sort of just get a kick of thinking about Elvin and Granny working together to try to figure out how to make him look as tough as possible. So he's got his leather vest, his mask, his studded belt and gloves, his boots and pants. He did not come with any type of accessory, extra heads or hands. This is all that we get with him, and it's really satisfying. So we'll start up top with the head on this figure. Elvin actually did get in with the Avengers for a time, but they turned him into a provisional when they found out that he was only 14 because he didn't tell them right off the bat. Then the gang that initially he was running away from, through another series of events and altercations, ends up killing his granny, and he kills the leader of that gang. A judge finds that it was self-defense, however, but he ends up leaving the Avengers and joining the New Warriors. And after a little while with them, it seems like Elvin decides that he just needs to go get his education. So he enrolls in a boys' school, and it seems like that's kind of where he's left off. And is just trying to be a normal kid and do the best that he can with this crazy situation. So I'm definitely looking forward to knowing more about him and the New Warriors in addition to that. His mask is actually a matte paint, which I really like. This is the first figure in this series. In the Crimson Dynamo series, I was really impressed with the paintwork, but I have not been impressed with the figures in this line. The paintwork on this figure is really outstanding. So his mask is matte and hand-painted detail that looks excellent. The detail in his eyes within the mask are really great. You actually sort of feel like you can see a childlike look in his eyes. And I could be projecting that because I know about the character, but I really do feel that the paintwork done to his eyes and the clench in his jaw with the underbite are sort of a nod to the fact that this is a child just trying to figure out what is going on, what's happening with him. I think it's also really funny that he has chest hair. I don't know why I find that so funny. but just because of how much it would probably freak a 14-year-old boy out, and because we never see chest hair on Marvel characters, which is weird. It seems like you would see it sometimes, but so I really like those little details that they added. I think that they really add to the overall feel of the character. The studs are shiny and stand out. They look great, and the tiny yellow detail here is a great contrast, which just sort of ties everything together for me. So the paintwork I was really happy with. We also get a really great contrast between his skin, his leather suit, his boots, and his helmet, as far as his boots being high gloss, and there being a little bit of a mattification on the pants as opposed to his skin, so it sort of matches up better with the vinyl here, and then the full matte of the mask. So we get a lot of depth as far as the textures go from top to bottom on the character, which I really, really like and appreciate. The points of articulation are just as you would expect with any Marvel Legends figure, and they work great. He experiences no hindrance because of the high collar of his vest in the movement of his head. You can still get a great looking up pose. You can still look down, and there's no hindrance in left to right, with an excellent range in between of poses and possibilities. So the articulation in his neck is fantastic. We've got easy movement in his shoulders. He turns in his biceps here. Double jointed elbows that work great. Wrists and hands that turn smoothly and easily. He only has fists, which, since he's Rage, I guess that makes sense. He only needs fists. So you can kind of pose him in some really cool ways. I just end up erring towards luchador poses, but you can do all kinds of things with him as far as his articulation in his arms and shoulders goes. He doesn't really get a lot of backward motion in the torso, but he does have 2 clicks forward, so you can still get some pretty decent movement out of that. The torso, arms, and legs are sized right. The scale of the figure, and as far as everything making sense and fitting together and being cohesive, is perfect. He has a full 360 turn in the waist, in both of his thighs, which is easy to maneuver, in both of his boots. You guys know how much I love that. And then a nice back and forward click motion in his boots. So after looking at the Crimson Dynamo line and being so happy with all of the figures in that line, and coming from the first few in this Abomination series and being not so impressed, I really liked Mach 1. This is by far and away my favorite figure so far in this line, and with 1 to go, I think it's safe to say that it'll probably end up being one of my favorite. I just think that he looks fantastic, whether you know Rage or not, and now that I know a little bit about Rage, I just feel a soft spot in my heart for him, and I want to get to know him better. But even not knowing him, looking at him, the style, I just think he's stylish looking, sort of having that luchador vibe to me, which maybe I should stop mentioning because he isn't a luchador, but I like that. And when it comes to playing with him, posing my toys, and pretending with him, that is definitely a role that I can see putting him in and using him in for photographs and just for fun. He is sharp. There was no paint error on this. I didn't have any gouges, no scuffs, no blobs, nothing unusual. So he looks perfect. He's clean and sharp. And I'm just really happy with the way that he looks. I think that he stands up beautifully next to any of my favorite figures. He's got a nice heft to him, and he is just pretty impressive overall. So I am really happy with Marvel Rage. If you are a fan of this character and you have recommendations with any of his Avengers tales, the New Warriors, if I got anything wrong, please tell me where to go to look for better information, because I'm definitely into knowing more about him. If you're a fan, also tell me, do you love this figure? Is this true to the Rage that you know? He looked pretty spot on to the reference sources that I looked at, but I'm always interested to hear what diehard fans think. With that said, this is a win for me. I'm really happy about everything about this figure, and I'll be happy to put him up on my shelf. Next time we will be looking at the final figure in the line, which will be Iron Man. If you guys watch my videos, you know that I've only gotten one Iron Man in the past and I was really displeased with him. So I've got my fingers crossed that this will be the Iron Man that I can get that other one off my shelf and put him up there and feel great about. Then I will be doing the Abomination as a whole. So I will be doing a video on Sunday, that will be Iron Man, and then Monday will be the Abomination to complete this series. Please let me know what you guys think of my review on this figure, what your thoughts are on the figure, what you think about the character, and where I should go to learn more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back again on Sunday with another review. Have a great day, friends. Bye.